are in high spirits. And generally whenever I've seen Rogue throughout this event, they have been in high spirits. So it's working.
Do you fancy a bit of Siege, Des?
I do, Tim. You know what? It's been a bit long now. It's been about 20 minutes. I'm craving another map.
Well, you'll be glad to know that we are in our way to Clubhouse. We've got both teams loaded in. We're going to be doing the bans. Montagna is going to be taken out first by Rogue. By G2, who start on the defense. And then it's going to be Ying taken out by Rogue.
Not too surprised to see that one banned away, given we did see Doki playing that up quite a lot back on Bank as well. I spoke about the Ying and how it makes attacking a hell of a lot easier. Chuck it in through hatches, for example, in through breach, you name it. Just gives you a much easier time on the attack. Azami then taken away, an operator that I think is a really smart ban. I love seeing her played. I think she's really interesting in terms of how she enables these off angles to be played that teams definitely aren't used to and sometimes do get caught out by. But it can make some spots really frustrating to attack into, especially things like Garage Catwalk. Valkyrie, our final ban to come away, is going to surprise absolutely no one. Teams still banning her away, despite the change that came through not too long ago, where her cams no longer work outside after 10 seconds. They are all destined to be indoors. Occasionally, you'll see attackers then re-pick into bringing along an IQ to show it a bit of respect, because if you don't find them all, they normally come back to bite you in some way.
Right, we've all had an opportunity to take a little bit of a breather after the maelstrom, the whirlwind that was Bank between these two, and we're going to head now into Clubhouse, and I hope you're ready for some more intensity, because I have absolutely no doubt whatsoever that these two teams are going to be delivering it. It's going to be Church and Arsenal for our first defensive site. G2 starting off on that side of things, and straight away up to the top floor they go. Prano just putting those mute jammers down there, so there's at least going to be one Roma playing up here.
There should be a couple of them, I imagine, really here. There's no excuse in this day and age, especially knowing where the meta currently is, for you to have all your players on site at the start of a round. It's why in the past I've referenced teams like BDS who do like playing a very dug-in kind of setup. They prefer to sit all 5 on site and let you come at them and try and win through superior gun skill. But these days, that just simply isn't enough. So getting out of the map looks to be the play. However, I can't turn my eyes away from two things here, Tim. Crying on the Nook now that it isn't banned away, but most importantly, Leon on the Blitz.
That blitz is going straight towards Dirt Tunnel at the minute, along with the sledge, and that tells us one thing. Interestingly, that Dirt Tunnel hasn't been reinforced for a Church hold, because it is going to give immediate access potentially to the blitz. Crying's working rapid pace through this mid-floor on the knock, and that is now the top floor Roma potentially cut off. That is a big problem for G2. There's 3 of them up there. They're going to have to work down blue rather than coming down through the bar, and I'm not sure if they're even going to be aware of Crying's presence. Obviously, with the Hell Presence reduction device, able to keep himself off the cams, so this could be a real issue here for G2 building.
And the nade comes through and hits Virtue. Ironic that Jaeger's the one that gets taken down by that as well. Not yet off the board entirely, should get revived back onto his feet, but only comes back up at about 20 HP. So Crying here with a good backstab potentially coming down main. You've got a couple of players looking to push their way down through Dirt as well. Rogue just slowly assembling all the pieces required here to pull off a very, very good attack. And there's the first kill.
You just knew they were going to have absolutely no idea that Crying was at the bottom of main stairs, and Crying, as he did in the first map, just giving Rogue a fantastic start, but Citizen stands up tall, manages to take a headshot onto the knock, leaving us now in a 4v4. They know that the blitz is pushing from Dirt. Leon is going to be forced back for the time being. No smoke on side for G2, so no ability to be able to push him back with that utility. Still trying to catch Virtue here on the top floor with those nades, but still no success, and that's not something Rogue can ignore, because he could hit them hard on the flank, low HP or not.
I spoke about these teams at the very start of this series, saying they've kind of moved towards each other's play style, and I think there you've seen it a bit from Crying, trying to be the solo hero pushing through whilst the rest of the team was still getting set up. They had 3 players outside the building, whereas now here comes the rush. Leon trying to chase down Citizen, then backs away because he knows someone will be waiting out towards blue for the cross stab as well. He's a little bit trapped. To Spoit is also down. Kanto coming in support on the backside, should be able to get their man up, if not for a bit of a swing coming in here. A 1v1 challenge, and Leon lands the headshot. What is that?
Hipfire headshot onto Alamo just when it was needed. It provided the support, the safety that Kanto needed to get Spike back on his feet. Of course, not having one of those boosts available at that point in time. And right now, the blitz of Leon has just terrorised this G2 defence. Doki able to take down Kanto, manages to get Leon as well. Brings it down from a 1v4 to a 1v2. He's on the hunt, he's on the prowl. He has no idea that Deepak's on his flank, and he's going to lose out the round as the final kill comes in for Rogue.
Well, there we go. Starting Clubhouse exactly the same way that we started Bank, with Rogue looking dominant. 4 players left at the very end, and so far, shining on through. Even with Cryan being picked up early on, and I made this point around again, coming towards each other's playstyle. You had Cryan being the hero player, essentially coming down main stairs, whilst the rest of the team wasn't really in position to push. And it wasn't that Leon inside the dirt was impeded by a smoke, for example. There was no smoke pick in the round. They just didn't have the support built up around Leon to enable him to push through without being shot in the back, shot in the side, as he tried to step through into potentially 5 or 6 different dangerous angles at the same time. So dial it back a little bit there, Cryan. Work with the boys, and maybe you'll find yourself coming out a little bit better in this round. At least for now, it looks to be picking over towards the Thatcher as well. So a small change in what lineup they are bringing along, given we are attacking into Cash and CC.
Yeah, we'll see a slightly different approach from Rogue here, but G2 might just need to think further down the line here as well about how to deal with that blitz that Leon brought along, because normally you'd say, right, well, if they bring a blitz, maybe bring a Legion or something. They already had that, and they still weren't able to deal with that shield fantastically well. Absolutely bullied them around the map on that bottom floor. Round number 2 is, as you say, going to be CCTV and Cashdes. G2 just choosing to move on. Again, we saw similar on Bank, where they didn't keep repetitively going to sites that they'd lost.
No, and I guess in a way, why would they too? Because they're in a position where if you keep on trying the same thing over and over again and you find a team running through it 2 or 3 times, you then are truly out of ideas, and the team knows you can't go back to that site. I think it was FaZe versus Empire, a good 2.5 years ago now, when they played in pre-COVID times, when they played each other at an event. I think it was on Cafe. We saw
3 roamers on the top floor, and nobody was aware that he'd walked in. You know, obviously that's part of the specialty of Knock, but even still, G2, you can't be giving them up. You know, I can't remember who it, let me check back, it was Prano who took that opening death, and you just know that when Prano came around that corner, he was like, guys, he's at the bottom of main stairs.
What's he doing here? Yeah.
And you just know that it was a surprise, and they can't be having that.
It's a real kicker for sure. But that's what Cryan loves doing, and I guarantee you, although you're seeing him on Thatcher in this round, that Nook will return throughout the half. For the side of G2, though, looks like they've got themselves focused here out towards the west somewhat as well. A couple of reinforcements out there. Prano unlucky to take a shotgun blast, I imagine, from Doki during their setup around the map here as well. You can see a couple of bullet holes rotated up through construction wall as well, giving that long angle through from Logi in towards construction, slicing this top half, or the left half of the map away from the right one, and just letting you really separate the attackers out and make them have to fight for even more land, hopefully to slow them down.
Yeah, really not ideal taking that early team damage. It's not what you want, especially for Prano, who's going to be trying to hold on to Kitchen. And
they've got him pinned.
He's already stuck. There is no way that he gets out of this without that hatch being open. Great teamwork from G2 to get that hatch open for him. Just Doki doing it from above in logistics, and it's just really smart play. I like that.
Just calling for that hatch to open up and someone responds is always good to have on side. Kanto now moving away from there, as I imagine Cryan will as well, realising there is no easy prey to claim inside a kitchen. And Prano's managed to rejoin his team back on site.
Doki gets himself out into gym. We saw him initially playing inside a bathroom. He's there to try and hold down any push from the west side through master bedroom. Logistics has been opened, and Spoit is going up with a drone hot ahead of him here. They don't know exactly where Doki is, but this could be perilous for him. There was just a little bit of presence on hot tub wall as well. Spoit just taking shots onto construction. There's a little bit of support coming in for Doki there. It's going to be Alamau who's moved himself into master bedroom, and this is going to be a very important fight. It's Kanto and Spoit versus Doki and Alamau, and whoever comes out on top here you feel is going to have a big advantage in the round. Spoit taking a lot of damage, able to juice himself back up for a little bit of that HP. Prano and Leon just going head to head, trading each other, but Alamau gets the victory over Spoit, and now it's down to Kanto. He fancies onto Doki, so it goes 1 for 1 in the master bedroom and in the bathroom, but Alamau comes out on top once again. 3 versus 2 now for G2, and looking good.
What a performance Alamau is having today. Just the gunfights that he stepped into with absolute confidence and hit his shots every time. You saw it back on back, what, 21, 22 kills he landed in the end? Already here, found himself 2 in the round. Deepek has got this side opened up, but this is only part of the story. You've got Cryan looking to come in through west window, but in a 2 versus 3 with Alamau still sat in behind as well. there's a real potential for a backstab to come through here that's going to completely shut this attack down.
There is. I think they know that Alamau's maybe gone underneath there. We just saw Deepak jumping off the garage balcony and going towards bar. So just as you say, backing himself out, getting himself back upstairs. And he needed to, because unfortunately for Alamau, he took some damage when he impact naded the hatch, and he could be ruining that if he comes into losing a fight here for that low health. But no, he manages to find the second, and that's Citizen shutting them down as well. And G2, they managed to close out CCTV and Cash. It's 1-1.
I'm just glad they found the round win a little bit earlier this time, Tim, because last time around it took 4 rounds of losing before they could bounce back in the 5th. Just showing here they've got that confidence. But what I do like from G2 is how much time they were wasting in that round as well. You saw us get towards that 1:30 mark, and Rogue were only just starting to drop inside a stock, inside a bedroom, and they were immediately being challenged from inside a construction itself. So G2 wanted to make sure Rogue fight over every bit of land they want to take here, which is, again, a massive improvement from what we've seen from them across Stage 1 and most of Stage 2 as well.
I've only just noticed that Dorky's picture on the nice player banners that we've got is him shushing. Which, if it was going to be anybody, it doesn't surprise me that Dorky is the one shushing on his picture.
It's bedtime for him, that's why. It's been a bit of sleep at the wheel so far, it feels.
G2 are going to be hoping that it's not bedtime for them as they go over to bar and stage this time around. They're going to be trying to hold on to master bedroom and construction, but if anything, they're going to be the ones tucking Rogue in if they have anything to do with it. Thunderbird is just going to place a salvation station over there in the bathroom, so that would tell us that somebody's likely to try and hold on to that area, expecting a push through Jacuzzi again. Probably they're expecting fairly similar from Rogue this time, where Spike moved up main stairs and Kanto pushed in through the Jacuzzi wall. But G2 really need to keep hold of that top floor, as we've seen. The reason being that the construction hatch is just so important. If you've got control of construction hatch, you can stop a lot of the plants inside a site, but that's not an ideal start as Crying takes his opportunity, obviously spotting Prano out on a drone there and just getting straight in, kill, straight out.
And that means the Evil Eyes, although they are still online and can be turned and viewed through, cannot be shot anymore as well. A good operator to find. I never thought I'd see the day when Citizen would play Echo, by the way. Not normally the kind of operator you think you'd see him on, but looking up and down the entire G2 lineup, you can see it's very utility focused. It's either contributing in towards the roam, or it's some form of denial or information. So a real kind of spread of roles here that the team are playing, not normally where you might see players sit in a more ordinary lineup.
Alamau just going to keep himself inside a gym for the time being. The drone comes in, that gives the information away, but it didn't really matter last time for Alamau. We saw him in master bedroom, he was able to battle against Spoit and still come away with a couple of kills, so he's pretty confident at sticking by there. Citizen's just going to be whizzing by on that Yokai drone, trying to find out exactly what sort of pressure Alamau is facing, and look at that, taking full opportunity of the 10 seconds available to get in that Yokai outside, just to check and see if there is any presence on that hot tub balcony, which right now there is not.
It's so obnoxious, and I'm really surprised. I was thinking it last night that more teams aren't trying to make use of the Echo for this kind of gameplay. And Citizen showing the real max level of aggression, getting it outside the building, collecting information, back inside again, just making sure that Jacuzzi side of things is in their control. He stepped out now as Doki's going to find Leon, but there's still one more looking to push in around from Jacuzzi's side. A big top side spread for Rogue here. 2 of them trying to push in. Citizen comes out for the 1, hits the deck, looking in for the 2nd, but a nade follows through just after. He shouldn't be much longer for this world, but does manage to escape.
Spike gets taken down by Doki, leaving us now 2v1. Crying, trying to push in through logistics. That's where the call is going to be, but Doki has repositioned. He's got himself into the closet, but here comes the LMG. That is the big problem for Doki, as he just can't move himself out to safety. It is now Crying versus Citizen. Citizen low health. He's just trying to play around, potentially make it to one of those salvation stations if there is one left, but it doesn't appear that that's going to be a possibility for him. He actually drops away back onto site, and now the 1v1. Crying's got 30 seconds to find him, but Citizen somehow hits a beauty on the reverse angle straight onto the head of Crying, and that is going to be the round for G2.
Beautiful stuff as well. Smart play by Citizen. I think for a second he thought that there would be a planet attempt coming in with Crying able to recover the diffuser, but held the angle knowing that it was very likely Crying was going to come in through the secret wall, given it just blown it open, and held that vertical perfectly. Crying just not able to respond in time, and G2 with another round.
getting themselves moving, a little bit of momentum. I mean, they are on the defense of Clubhouse, so we would expect them to, you know, come away with, I would say, a 4-2 split here. That's going to be the minimum that G2 are looking for, but Rogue certainly struggling to get themselves into the last couple. And we've got to remember, the one round that they have won so far was downstairs, and it was on the back of that blitz play, something that they're not going to get away with every time. No. They're not going to get away with Cryin walking down main stairs on the knock and just getting a free entry. You know, G2 are going to adapt, they're going to learn, they're going to change, and they're going to make sure that that is not repeated. So Rogue, you might just have to bring something different to the table this time.
Was that knock repeated, Tim?
Of course.
Obviously. Why wouldn't it be? I think you may well see him try and pull off the same sort of thing here, or the team turn their attention to other parts of the map whilst he goes down the old one. Say, for example, he tries to push his way through dirt once it's been opened up. Either way, he is going to be that lurking solo operator. That's what you do with the Nook. You don't tend to play around other operators, otherwise the whole point of, you know, stealth is kind of taken away very quickly.
Cryin once again looking to get in through main door, but I called it, Dennis. I said that G2 would learn, they would adapt, and they would change, and Doki was stood waiting. They asked the question, where did he come from? And they got the answer right. He must have come in through main door and through bar, and Doki was there ready to make the challenge. Brilliant entry. Spoit takes down Alamo, and that leaves us 4 versus 4.
They've got a lot of work to do here, though, because Spoit's looking to push his way through this top floor, I imagine. Not forgetting that the site is down in the basement. So with Leon looking to push his way also into Lounge, there's a lot of work being done by Rogue, a lot of coverage to do. But you don't want to invest all that much time. You've got Kanto and Deepek hard on the drones here as well, out towards gym and bedroom side of things to make sure no one's waiting on top. You'll see this in most rounds. If you keep an eye on overhead displays, for example, you'll see that these two are the ones who often sit on the drones to let Spoit collect a lot of ground, and then they start worrying about the site itself. It's like clockwork, Tim.
See, this is one of the big benefits with the top floor roam. Even when you've dropped yourself back to site, you are still buying yourself a further 30 seconds a lot of the time, because that's what we've just seen Rogue have to do, go through that 30-second process just to make sure that they're confident that the threat has passed. Doki just getting his legs picked up there as Spoit holds a tight angle, and let me tell you, that is not an easy shot to be hitting. That takes some reflexes as Doki moves quickly back and forth around that boiler. Now then, Kanto, he's going to get on this angle. That actually, if you don't recognise where that's looking to, it's the bottom of main stairs, so it's just preventing anybody moving back up into the map, but he moves away quickly.
There might be a count starting to form here. You've got Spoit looking at blue, Deepet looking at stock, Kanto is inside a bar, and Leon also even starting to think about going in through kitchen here. So setting up for what looks to be a very blue-focused execute with some cover coming in from kitchen as well, but you might well find yourself playing this trick game here, given there are 3 impacts in the back pocket of G2. They get rid of at least 2, but the problem is you're against a Hibana. My only concern for the Hibana of Leon is there's only 4 left, and when he gets killed like that, Tim, the hatch may well stay closed. No, it does open, but diffuser is down in kitchen.
That's a big problem. It's not just about stopping that hatch getting opened, it's the time that it takes, and once again, we bring up the clock. We're down to 30 seconds. Spoit needs to get explosive here, needs to make something happen for his team. He's pushing in, he's trying to challenge Doki. Doki knows it's coming. You can feel that he's itching to take that peek around the corner, but he's not going to give his life away that easily. It's going to be Virtue instead, looking for the wraparound from the bottom of Church. It's Prano, it's Virtue. He gets his man. It's all up to Deepek inside the side, but Virtue is there. G2 are there, and G2 are leading 3-1.
Just that hold around blue looked so frustrating to try and push into as well. You take the challenge onto one man, the other's got a side angle on you. You go for the other man, there's a side angle coming in from the other, and there's even additional support inside of Church itself. G2 just really stonewalling Rogue here, giving them no way into sight. And Citizen's cheeky kill onto Leon inside the kitchen really sweeten the deal, something special. Rogue, understandably, calling in a timeout. They're down 3-1, and they know they need to find something more on the attack here. It's almost like an absolute flip of what we saw back on Bank, Tim, when G2 were down 4-0. It was a lot of effort to pull things back, but if Rogue can find 2 rounds, the second half could be a very different story.
I feel a little bit like, you know, this is the test for Rogue now, because on Bank, as you say, G2, they were up against it. They've proven that they were able to fight back from that they had the capacity, the resilience to keep fighting, to keep the energy up. Whereas for me, Rogue just feel a little bit low at the minute in terms of energy, Des. It's gone a little bit quiet for them. We're not having, you know, those big gunfights where they're coming in, getting aggressive. We're not having those 3-2-1 pushers where they all move in together and just get a swarm of kills. And we know that Clubhouse Clubhouse is a map that, you know, historically, even recent history, is not the best for them. We saw them play it 4 times in EUL Stage 2. They only had a 50% win rate, 2 wins, 2 losses, and the wins were narrow wins at that. This may not be their best map, and this could be a bit of a hammer blow for them.
Just to double down on your point there, Tim, all the respect to the players, of course, like, we could not be EUL players.
Oh, no.
We enjoy Siege, we're not particularly good at it, but the beauty in it for me is that they were against teams like Na'Vi and Pones, and it was a real battle against those two. They were 2 of the lowest ranked teams that we had in EUL, and just so you can see on your screen here, this is what this series means for both of these teams and their odds of going to SI. Now, maybe you look at that and go, 99.99% or 99.98, what's the difference? The way that works out, Spabuni and Wrath behind the scenes have been doing this probability calculation for us all week long. That basically means it is almost guaranteed, but there is still a small slither of chance they could not, i.e. they perform really bad in Stage 3. Some teams that are on the fringe in other regions do well and get enough points to qualify. The stars need to align, but essentially for G2, they're already guaranteed to go. For Rogue, though, this could mean the world. Imagine if Rogue, with how well they've played this year, having picked up Spoit, don't make it to the biggest competition of the year.
I mean, you look at those, you know, those percentages, and you would still back Rogue at that point, given the performances that they've shown us so far. But both of these teams going to be wanting to lock things down as quickly as possible in terms of the SI. It's, you know, of course, the biggest competition of the year, and it's ultimately the aim for all teams. Rogue is going to be looking to push onto CCTV window. Doki, he's overstaying his welcome here, Des. He needs to get himself out of dodge. Nitro goes out, shot down, but Virtue with the opener onto Kanto. Alamo gets down. This is a bloodbath, Des.
The bloodbath of West Window, this shall be known from this moment forward, but somehow only 2 players have died. Sure, we've lost a lot of HP in the process, but there was a big flurry of aggression coming out of G2. Rogue responding kind and still keep themselves going. Spoit stays standing as well. He's still got 2 more of those nanobots to pull through, whereas for G2, the damage that Doki and Virtue have taken, that's permanent.
It feels like after that fight, everybody's just dipped back and been like, "No, we need a breather. We need a breather after that." You've just got, you know, you've got walking injuries everywhere. Spoit is lower health. Doki took damage. I don't know how he survived, other than just hitting the deck and praying. Virtue half health as well along the way, and we can see G2 just rotating, changing, adapting, depending on what Rogue are doing as attackers right now. Rogue, they've rotated. They're switching it up. They're getting themselves into construction. They're working through Master now. They're trying to bring that west-sided pressure.
And that west-sided pressure has somewhat diminished from Rogue here, right? All the drones are rifling on through, but they backed away from playing on West Window itself, feeling instead that they couldn't just directly move from the West Window into construction itself, that it needed a breach opened up, it needed bedroom control, it needed droning. They've kind of had to take an extra minute or so here to get everything done, and only now are they starting to step back into the same spot. Leon on West Window is looking for that invitation to step in, but he needs the rest of the team to move first.
Bit of a problem for G2 here is that Doki and Virtue are particularly important in this defense. Doki dare not take a fight right now. He's just stuck in behind the bomb chassis. He really would like to have been peeking through that soft wall. In goes Spoit, in goes Leon, the 2 that I said they needed. Death go down first. Leon, he's putting the diffuser down on the ground. It's all up to Sisters and it's 1v4. He can't find the first, can it? He has a look through the soft wall, but the diffuser goes down. A beautiful flick onto Leon. 1 versus 3, but he's against the clock. He's got about 31 seconds to turn this around.
A lot to do, though, because they're outside the building. Deepex on red, Spoit's inside the cache, Crying's out West Window. Those are 3 horrible crossfires that might just jump on you at a moment's notice. Rogue playing this so passively. No one diving in for the kill, just letting Citizen wallow in pity a little bit here that he won't be able to pull this round back over to his side. As soon as he vaults in through this window, Crying's got the cross angle. It should be done and dusted from here, though, as he has no time to get the defuse off. He'll hold, and Crying steps across, takes the close, and Rogue proves that timeout can still get them back into this game.
Rogue bringing us back to 3-2 then on the scoreboard, and as I said at the time, there was 2 people particularly important to that defence. They had the soft wall into construction left soft, wasn't reinforced, and there was peak holes in it. It was something that we first saw LATAM do back in about 2020. They were doing that one. Julio, I remember particularly, would be the man in behind that bomb chassis and just making it an absolute nightmare for anybody to try to play into construction. Doki wasn't able to do it because he had about 5 HP, so he can't possibly take a peek on there. The second important person is Virtue on Catwalk, and again, he was low health. He wasn't in a position to be taking challenges, and and that is the position that if you lose the man behind Bomb Chassis, you try to challenge from Catwalk when they push in through the doorway, through the wall, to try and get the diffuser down. Both of those were cleared out. It meant that G2 had to move, and as soon as they had to move, Rogue were waiting and ready.
They probably feel a bit hard done by that war of West windows, I was calling it in the round, didn't go their way. You know, 1 for 1 at the end, sure, you've taken down attackers, you remove critical utility. It's still a win for the defenders, but they really would have felt they could get a couple of kills out of that at the very least, with C4s coming flying, 2 or 3 swings coming out. But no, that 1 for 1 really what kept Rogue in the round. We're into their last attacking round here as well. 3-3 split will feel quite a success for Rogue, who again have come into a map here that is not their map choice. A map they've had difficult performances against some of the lowest ranked teams that we have in EUL, in Pones and Na'Vi. And G2 obviously being a major team, you would think would be able to take this one away comfortably. But I can smell blood in the water, Tim.
Doki with a big bandit trick there to say that they've got the Thatcher on side, still able to catch one of those exothermics, and that might actually just make it very difficult for them to get that East Breach open. They've managed to get Construction Wall open, they've managed to get Jacuzzi Wall open. They are attacking here onto Baron stage, so it's not the end of the world, but what it will do is allow G2 to keep a presence potentially on the east side, in cash, in CCTV,
Kanto
to
drop.
then keep challenging back into construction.
It's a good read there from Doki as well, that the nade was coming in. But they needed Kanto to drop down, which he has now done. So Doki has actually played that point perfect in stepping away. But Spoit disappeared, and Elamau comes in for a kill for free. Virtue into another, and it feels like G2 might be on for that 4-2 half they were looking for.
Deepak just trying to hold the angle. It's always in this position as the support player. He's the one trying to mop up when things go wrong and needs to get something going. It's Kanto who actually manages to get the first kill. Going to take Doki down. Recognised in the chat there by Doki with a nice shot. You know, as much as we talk about the beef, there's still a lot of respect between these teams. And it's nice to see that shown as well. Alamau's on the tight angle. There's no idea. Deepak doesn't know. Alamau takes him down with a beautiful pre-fire.
He's on the way to hitting into the 20 bomb at this point, Tim, as well. 8 kills across the 6 rounds, and he might not even be done. Kanto nade in hand, Alamau collects it and makes it 9 kills in 6. A quad kill in their last defensive round.
4-2 on the half for G2, and I just feel there's like, it's not just about the scoreline here. G2 for me feel considerably on top of this one. Rogue really struggling to get themselves in. You know, they won a round on the back of a blitz play. You know, these, yeah, sometimes that's going to happen, but ultimately, G2, the rounds they've won, they have really won them.
They look a bit lethargic, Rogue.
That's what I said, they feel a bit low energy for me.
And truthfully, I think a lot of that comes down to the map, as I've said. It's not one of their hottest picks. It's no Bank, needless to say. You saw how well they played on Bank. That is one of their favourite maps alongside Skyscraper. So I think you are really starting to see, I don't want to say like map pool issues here, but it's definitely not up there with one of their top ones. Maybe we'll see differently on Villa if we get through to it, because G2 now have got to show that they can, as well as defend, also attack on this map.
One thing that I would say, you know, is if you want to win a tournament, you've got to be able to win those maps that aren't yours. You know, you can't see that energy disappear because it's not really our map, and because we're being pushed around a little bit. The champions are the ones who can react to that, the ones who can get back on top of it, and the ones who can find that energy. And finding energy right now is Spoit with a huge headshot onto Citizen to start off the defense for Rogue. They needed that, and that might just be the pep up they need.
What stings the most is they've got rid of the Habana here as well. You bring it for this site because there are so many hatches to get open. Now we're going to have a choice forced out of G2. What hatches do you want open? You've got to pray they don't get Kaid Electrocord, for example. You've got the Twitch on side, but no Thatcher, so you can't guarantee that won't happen. So they can look towards maybe Kitchen and risk it getting C4'd off, for example. Or you can look in towards Bar, which is a very good one to get open. They have actually left stock free, Tim, so they could get the 3 hatches they're looking for, to be honest with you. I'm kind of surprised that Rogue haven't had them all locked off.
Kanto's going to keep playing his game in logistics here. They are defending down on the bottom floor, of course, but we've seen the damage that can be done from logistics. I remember Pino playing there particularly, just opening up the floor, and you can keep that kitchen hatch closed all day if you don't get cleared out of there. It looks like Kanto is now being pushed back downstairs, as you say, coming up against drones at every single turn, and that is Rogue turning tail and saying it's time to go back to site. Virtue opens up the dirt tunnel barricade, but The Vulcan canister pops at the same time, and that's just going to buy Leon that little bit of time for everybody to get back.
The rat play, if Cryan can make this work, then oh my god, it could be a real stinger. But he's got to choose who he's pouncing on here. Alamar would be the perfect guy to pick up, given he's got blue control. Spoit finds a second off the back of that spawn peak, then picks up Doki, and Kanto finds a third, making a quick fourth coming out. Rogue starting out their defense in explosive fashion. Prano, the last one left standing.
Really solid defense from Rogue on the basement there. Didn't overstay their welcome on the top floor. They were happy enough to get themselves back down. It was well timed, just as the push from G2 was coming. I think they'd recognised that they were a little bit light-handed on site, Rogue, so they were keen to get in there and try to pressure them a little bit. But Prano's going to use all of these 50 seconds to try and get something done for G2 here. He's just rotating away. He knows that Dirt Tunnel is a little bit of a path to nowhere. It's a single door. They know that he's there. He has to try and switch something up, but Rogue can make a good estimation based on the length of time as to maybe just how far he's moved, but we could have an opportunity for a little unofficial timeout here as well by the looks of things.
It's exactly what they've done, yeah. Since he was sat in Dirt, you've had Citizen talking back and forth with Virtue as well about the next plan. What can they change for next round to get things back on board? It saves you calling in the official timeout as well here, so I think it's a really good call. They've got this one coming through. Sure, it's boring to watch, but it means G2 might get things back on track in the next round.
Exactly that. You know, they've got to discuss exactly, you know, what's happened there, because it wasn't the worst start. They managed to force Rogue back to site pretty quickly. They got in there. It was about 1 minute and 10 seconds in, and you had Rogue all stacking back down into the site, but then the push came from G2, and they were just working into angles where Rogue knew where they were coming from. They were ready for the fights. So, yeah, G2 definitely needing to take the opportunity just to try and switch things up for round number 8, which we're going to be heading into now. I'm interested in the site selection from Rogue here. They've just taken Church and Arsenal. We saw G2 favouring CCTV Cash, which is a bit of a 50-50 choice lately, and also Bar and Stage. They stayed well away from Jim, whereas some teams will pick it up as a second choice site. So fascinated to see for Rogue, and it is indeed Gym and Bedroom that they're going to be going to.
All right, like it. As you say, I called this back in the stage as well, the teams are starting to slowly gravitate away from Cash and CC being one of their go-to primaries. Reason being that you have to play the extended hold here on the defensive side, and you will no doubt see this from Rogue. Several players setting up around Cash, around CC, reinforcing off walls, deploying shields, you name it, because the whole goal is to waste a couple of minutes in the round. If you get away with, say, one person dying, it's far from the end of the world. What you'll often then see attackers have to focus on is pushing their way through in Logi up towards the north, and once they get control of that, that is when you start thinking about your executors splitting some attackers down towards the south. So keep a close eye on it. You can see those the salvation stations, as we call them, scattered out throughout the site. And looks to be, at least for now, you've got Doki and Isolation coming in from the east side.
G2 certainly not making it easy for their fans to watch at the minute, and how about that for a jump out from Spoit? They even went for the double. Cryan had him backed up, was right behind him just in case there was a trade to be made, but Spoit, he gets the opener onto Doki, and what an operator. You can't choose him, Des, but he gets the thinker, and I'm not sure that G2 are going to think very much about that. They've lost the nades, they've lost the Gon 6, and they've lost the health boosts.
I forget if it was I don't know if it was Leon or Doki, but there was one of those two players last year that had a spat of playing Thermite on this map, and every single round on attack they were spawn peaked. Doki's now had that 2 round, well not Doki, but G2 have had that 2 rounds in a row. Citizen in the former, Doki in this one, and both coming at the hands of Spoit, who's playing on what is normally Cryan's operator. Goyo is the sort of thing you'll normally see Cryan playing on maps like Skyscraper, but here on Club, that's a Spoit special.
Spoit just pushing back into Cash, looking basically to support Cryan, trying to keep him alive at the top of Red Stairs. We're going to have a little battle, a little duel between Citizen and Spoit, and Cryan there, just each trying to find angles onto each other through the soft walls, but can't quite connect. Now Alamo underneath, he doesn't have an exact location on Spoit, and he's actually going to move himself into the safety of construction at the right time there, but it leaves Cryan a little bit more in danger here at the top of Red Stairs. Some pressure could really mount and find himself pushed, but you tell you what, Cryan just fights his way out of there. Beautiful headshot onto Citizen at the garage window, and the big problem that G2 have got now is that Cryan, he's on the loose, Des.
He is. This is the thing I said about trying to clear out the whole Cash CC, what would be the site here on the Gym Bedroom defense. they're paying the price for it. They've tried nades from below. They've tried pushing in through the breach, and they're still losing members all the way through. 2 down for G2 so far, and they haven't even had a sniff of the site yet, Tim.
No, they need to wake up on the attack, I think, is the key here. It showed from the beginning of the round. If, you know, you're going to lose somebody to that blue stairs jump out, Kanto, he's going to trade out Alamau immediately, and that's something that Rogue are starting to do better. They're finding those trades, and they're not allowing kills to go unpunished. It's 4 versus 2 now, and G2, it's back to the drawing board once again. They tried, as you say, multiple things to get something going here. Now the logistics hatch push doesn't work. What next?
If this keeps on bouncing this way, G2 are out of ideas, out of options, and Rogue could just find themselves steamrolling towards that 2-0. We're all praying for the Map 3, but here comes the rapid execute. 3 pushing in. Prana loses his gunfight, but Virtue wins 2. But Kanto's there for the swing. Rogue bring us all even at 4-4.
It's time to get nervous if you are wearing the shirt of G2, because Rogue have found their mojo, Des. They have got themselves moving, and right now you can just feel that energy that we spoke about. It felt a little bit low for Rogue, but they get themselves on the defense, they get 2 rounds in a row, and they just start feeling like there is a bit more about this team. They're not just winning gunfights, they're looking for gunfights now. That's the big difference.
That's why I always say, Tim, there are 2 halves to a game of Siege, and a lot of that comes down to the way attack and defense works at the moment. We're in a meta where, thanks to operators like the Thinker, defenders have to fight over every single piece of the map. You sit on site, they're going to hit you, thanks to attacker repick, with the best attacking lineup they can bring for that site. So you've got to get out there, you've got to disrupt, you've got to look for gunfights. And Rogue have kind of read that and gone, yep, got it, I understand the assignment. They're getting out there, they're spawn peeking, they're challenging them when they're not even anywhere near the site itself. And it's almost on G2 in that case to not be so on it with their drones, to be mindful of the spawn peaks coming out. They've been hit twice so far. I really doubt, and I'm not trying to jinx it, I really doubt they go for a 3rd.
Well, watch this space now that you've said it, Des. We're into round 9. It's going to be CCTV and Cash this time, and it'll be the final site chosen by Rogue more than likely. If they win this, we'll see them take over the rotation once again. More than likely, win or lose, we will see them back down on the basement next round. Citizen immediately just having a little tickle at Garage Door there, but again, it's a tough angle to challenge, so he's on the ace, which is an interesting choice for Citizen. He's going to go in and use those
as well. Yeah.
This is it. The thing is, he doesn't need to play that operator as any sort of hard support. That's still going to be Prano on the Thermite. Citizen's bringing the ace along because he can use the Selma charges to open Garage, he can get the angles that he needs. Once he's done that, he's free to just go and frag, to play that lurking flex roll.
And because they needed more of those Claymores. Alamau's first action in this round, by the way, was to drop a Claymore onto the stock jump out and another one onto Garage Door. They are just so worried about these runouts and the cheeky players coming out of Rogue. My only fear would be Deepek has got 2 impacts in back pocket. We've seen teams impact outside Garage Door, for example, and then go for a run out. If Deepek doesn't get pressured inside a Garage, watch out for him looking for that kind of play onto Prano or Doki.
Kanto's going to head back up red stairs now, just back in as the gadgets in front of him are destroyed, which is going to make it a lot more difficult for him to stay in that position. The problem being that he can't play through those visibility holes on the deployable shield. He's now sort of got to play blind in that position and just wait for intel, wait for information to know if there's anybody pushing through the breach. And it's going to be Leon likely to provide that. He's going to be taking that tall angle down onto Garage Stairs, and this is where they have to do something about Deepek. Citizen, Virtue, finding 2. Doki knows there's one underneath. He's just looking for this. He's desperate for the kill. He's not going to find it for the time being, but then yes, Kanto taken down with a long angle. Diffuser down in the midst. It's 1 versus 4 and crying. He is dead as Virtue finds the kill from underneath, and G2 find their first round in the last 3.
It's like I've been saying for a while, Tim, these 2 teams are starting to come closer and closer in play style, and that right there was a great example. A countdown, 3, 2, 1, we flood site. Doki pushes into Garage, holds the cross in towards Lounge, because we know whoever's down there is about to make a move. They read Rogue like a book in that round. They had every prediction down on what their moves would be, and they absolutely destroyed them.
Just seeing the replays of the kills raining in there. Virtue with the final one from underneath, just showing the level of control that G2 had. As you say, you know, it was that coordinated push together, but they were confident. They had somebody in garage, they had somebody underneath working in stock. They had all the angles that they needed, and the book was a little bit of an inspired pick, really. We don't often see that brought along too often on that site, but you can open up a lot of that cash floor and make life difficult. You can open up a lot of the CCTV floor and just prevent the defenders from being able to play in those positions.
Let's see how things carry on from here then. For G2, one more round guarantees overtime yet again for Rogue. There's still 2 more to fight their way back through, and given how they had to do so on bank a little bit, you may well see the same here again. That Mutant Mozzie coming out. We're so used to seeing that on this map. SSG pioneering this back in, God, I want to say it's probably 2018, 2019 time. A very roam-heavy setup, relying on the anti-information or the information denial coming out of those 2 operators to make sure it's a hard call for the attackers to move through.
I think Doki knows that Spike was on the hot tub wall, and that's why he's gone into sight like an absolute rocket here. Virtue's going to go in and take out 2 Vulcan canisters, but Doki, for me, he's going to be on the hunt straight away, looking towards Spike on the top floor. The drones are going in ahead of him to try and get him the information, try and spot him out. Spike is potentially going to escape. The drone sees him, but we know what Spike's like, Des. Just because the drone has seen him doesn't mean he's going to back away. He's looking to potentially take that fight, and this could be a key engagement in this round.
And here we go. You got Kanto playing on the upstairs to deny away the X-Kairos going down onto this hatch. They will never be able to stick as long as he is sat above, so they've got to be worried about that. But I want to give a nod towards Virtue now. It's the second time that they've had someone charge down Dirt and pop out both Goyo canisters really early in the round. Last time, it was about the 147 mark. This time, it was at 230. So removing that gadgetry that can really slow you down in the late round, I think, is a really smart read from G2. They just kind of slotted it in at the top of their checklist and said, then we can go about our business elsewhere.
Citizen's just burnt a lot of X-Kairos pellets there. He's only got 8 remaining, and the hatch still not open. That 1 is not going to be enough. There's going to need to be 1 more, and it's not going to happen. There's no way that they're getting the hatch open now. There is no hard breach left on the side. Oh, sorry, Prano is available, but still, it is not going to be easy for him to get in there with the volume of floor that has been opened up. We've got a Nitro flashing above us as well, and that is going to be detonated, just making it even more difficult here for G2 to try and hold down this kitchen while they get the hatch open. Leon finding Doki in Dirt, and it's all starting to go wrong. Aggressive challenge into Oil, though, and Alamau levels things up 3v3.
Alamau stepping his way through, big controller blue and all coming in here. It means the 2 players of Rogue have got to turn their attention southward. So potentially for Prano, who's holding around kitchen, Virtue, who's also rotating over the same way. A mainstairs push with 45 seconds left is not a bad idea, given attentions are forced elsewhere for the remaining members of Rogue.
There could be an opportunity for Prano to open up Church Wall. Might just give them a little bit more of an ingress. Alamo manages to find Leon, but an immediate trade from Rogue. I said it before, I'll say it again. Rogue doing very well on the trade game, but the information is there.
Virtue!
You've got to hit that kill, Virtue. He knows he's got him down. Surely he's going to finish Deepek off. He's just being cautious. Kanto goes for the challenge onto Prano. It's now effectively a 1v2. Kanto not wanting to overstay his welcome. Virtue finds the kill onto Deepek, finishes things off. 10 seconds left to go. 1 is going to have to cover, 1 is going to have to plant.
Going to have to open up the rotation there as well with the C4 coming in behind. Virtue's looking the wrong way. Gets the backstabber. Now has 1 left to go. Prano moving off towards the back end of sight here and gone down for the plant. He's on a slither of HP. A single SMG bullet might be more than enough at this point. Tim is shotgunning up some holes here as well to get the rotate through. I don't think he 100% knows where he is. Maybe he's had the call. Prano's watching the right way. Who wins the 1v1? Steps up towards the left, and Kanto lands it. We're going up to round 11 with Rogue taking round 10.
That's going to make us 5-5 on the scoreboard by the time that Kanto holds on and disables that diffuser. We are looking at potentially a little bit of overtime once again. For now, we are guaranteed all 12 rounds, and this one is turning wild.
I love being guaranteed 12, Tim. At the very least, you get the 7-5, but overtime is what we all want to see. We said it at the start, all 45 would be a dream. Rogue heading out to gym and bedroom. We spoke about this earlier on. They will extend out towards the Cash and CC side, and more likely than not, G2 will have to go and break that side open first. And given how good Rogue have been at getting kills onto G2 in the early round, getting up in the faces of the attackers and taking operators like the Finker offline, I'm worried for G2.
Difficult situation for Prano there. Low health, knows that he's facing an operator with a big shotgun that even at distance would be able to take him down in one shot. Had to make a move, had to try and do something, but the fancy footwork just wasn't enough. He certainly got stung as he tried to move himself out of there. Kanto once again showing a calm head there to get the round done for Rogue. 5-5 then we head into round number 11. It's going to be gym and bedroom for Rogue. We saw this back in round 8 and it was a Rogue win. G2. This was the round as where they tried 4 or 5 different things. Nothing would work. They tried to get into CCTV and cash. Didn't happen. Tried the logistics hatch. Didn't happen. Tried the jacuzzi wall. Didn't happen. They're going to need something different here, G2.
And what a game this would be as well for Spoit, who's just entered into the double-digit kills after the rehost, to be putting up a kind of show that gets them through to a semi-final at the first time of asking. We saw this from Rogue. I forget which event it was now, but they got through to playoffs and they kind of crumbled once they got towards the mid to later stages. It was in playoffs. And they just said, yeah, just on the day we were squabbling, things weren't really quite aligned, and keeping them on track has been, no doubt, Bernie's focus over the last few months, and really is starting to show results for that now. Here we go, though. G2 have got themselves Jacuzzi opened up to start things off, and no doubt also have got the east side opened as well. So the 2 main breaches have been opened up, as Kanto narrowly getting away here as well, dropping himself down into the basement as Cryan works his way back up red stairs to hold down what feels like a bit of a fort for the longest time. Spoit, though, choosing to bail and get out. At least for now, whilst he knows the challenge up top, tries to go for the shot as well, but can't find the man.
Name me many other players who would take on that challenge. Just seeing the bullets raining through CCTV window, and rather than thinking, oh, I'd better just dip away from here, thinking, no, I'm going to see if I can get him on the peak afterwards. Absolutely unreal, but Citizen managing to get away without taking any damage there. So still 5 versus 5 in the round halfway mark. We've seen a reasonable amount of operators using those hatches to go up and down and to use the verticality of the map, and Kanto has kept himself alive from that early challenge into stock to keep himself out in the map. Could be a nuisance later on. Keep an eye on Kanto, but the opener is going to come in. Prano gets taken down by Leon. That also means the diffuser is down. I won't say quite in no man's land, but it is out on that hot tub balcony and needs to be recovered.
And last time round, Virtue rotated around to that balcony to push him with Prano when it came to the execute itself. So I wouldn't be shocked if they already have it in their back pocket that someone will be getting onto that balcony and pushing in a bit later in the round. I say a bit later, Tim. There's only 50 seconds remaining here, so G2, they need to firm up what that plan is. Kanto's holding around main stairs, it's worth noting as well. So him and Virtue are dancing around each other in kitchen, and Kanto's going fishing, finds a big one.
I did say that he may come back to haunt them, could be a problem, and that's exactly what has happened. Alamau manages to get the trade, but Leon is there for the counter trade, leaving us now in a 4v2 row, keeping man advantage very well. Citizen just tagging himself with that alibi decoy for the meantime. You can see how much of a problem they're causing him in the windows. He's trying to fight around them, but Citizen, as he goes in, gets taken down. Spoit with a double at the end of the round, and Rogue, they move themselves on to map point and series point.
That's it, Tim. Map and series. One more round for Rogue, and they're into our semi-finals to face off against XSET. And although it's great seeing G2 versus Rogue, I'm sure NA versus EU will also spark a few Twitter threads.
I think there'll be a bit of spice in that semi-final, I'll be honest. And one of those teams, of course, will be going on to meet a LATAM team in the grand final, because the other side of the bracket now has only 3 LATAM teams remaining, so one of them will be there.
I was joking about this the other day. It's funny how there's been such a kind of like fuel debate between NA and EU, like, no EU teams are going through, all for NA, but then it's like, well, EU are all through now. Then LATAM's just there.
LATAM just sat watching the fight.
They're like, you guys carry on, like, we'll just see you in the final. Like, when you guys have decided who's going to be there with us, it's no issue at all. Really excited to see how that side of the bracket plays out. A reminder, of course, we've got FaZe versus FURIA coming up after this for our last quarter final, and the semis play out tomorrow before that grand final, and of course our season reveal on Sunday, Tim.
Always one to watch. Always enjoy those, seeing exactly what is coming. We're going to see what's coming in the next rounders. It's 6-5 to Rogue, and this could be it for G2's journey. You know, let's not forget where G2 came from. They had a tough start in EUL Stage 2 at a point. Sprabuni and Wrath were predicting only a 4% chance, only in 4% of scenarios, tens of thousands of which were run. Did G2 make it to this stage, make it to the Berlin Major? But they did it. They overcame the odds, they fought back, they won every single game that they needed to. The other results went in their favour, and they made it. But this could be the end of the road for G2. They've got 3 minutes. 3 minutes, Des, and an attack onto bar and stage to keep themselves alive, to go through to overtime once again.
And I love it from Rogue as well. They're bringing it out literally at the last second. When G2 haven't yet seen it in this game, they played every other site but have not stepped onto this one. So with how things are going to shape up here, there could be a few surprises in the wing. Deepek's back onto the old trusty Echo as well, that we've seen him play so well. Leon on the Maestro, really stacking up the information, and all eyes will no doubt turn towards Spoit and Cryin, playing on the Alibi and the Oryx, the real troublemakers on this team, who'll be trying to get up in G2's face nice and early. And that's why Alamal's paid a bit of respect here, and has got the DKB on side.
We see the wall into strip opened up very quickly. We quite often see players looking to anchor inside of there, just looking for that late push potentially back in towards site, can hold long angles all the way through to stage as well. Now then, how about this from Deepek? Manages to find Doki in behind the van, but if anybody can get there quickly enough, Cryin looks like he could be on his way here. There we go. Doki's actually going to get away with that, but the garage wall was soft behind him, and Cryin was desperately dashing to try and make it down there to put a challenge in through the wall.
This is horrible. Look at it. Like, I've seen hopping up through hatches before, but I've never seen someone drive one outside, hop up, get a little lay of the land, and then get back inside.
Oh, no, you do not, Doki! Absolutely removes Leon from the server on the reverse angle. What a shot to hit, and G2 desperately needed that.
He doesn't care about the pests that are those yokais. They've come to expect it at this point, Tim. Learn to live with it, you might say. A great reverse angle onto Leon. Again, removes the Evil Eye's active zapping ability, but they can still be used for information.
Deepek's still able to race around the site. Again, as you said, just using them from... We see it so much more often. The yokai drones, you know, so infrequently used to actually stop plants now versus just being used in the same way as those attacker drones. And
mainly because of Deepek.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it surprises me that it took so long for, you know, for us to say, actually, this could just do the same as the attacker drones, which are actually really valuable. But the focus now coming onto main door from G2. Prono's in. He's thinking about getting a plant down. The smoke is there. He's going to go for it, Des. It's 3v3. I'm not sure he's got the cover, but they don't know exactly where it is. He has managed to stop it with a fraction of a second remaining.
Cryin got a boom there and just opened up the vertical holes as well. Just got it in time, but Citizen finds Spoit. We're down to a classic 2v2 to decide the fate of G2. Do they stay? Do they go home? So far it's looking like stay, but Deepek, he could be the big clutch.
And he has a yokai left. This could be hugely impactful if he's able to stop the plant going down. He's manoeuvring, he's trying to find it. Virtue's going for it. It's 10 seconds left to go. I'm not sure if Deepek has enough to stop to. Citizen's found him there. He's got there. He's managed to get the final kill, and Des, it's Map2, and we're going to overtime.
2 maps, 2 overtime. The only thing it deserves now is a map 3. It's the only thing that can sweeten this quarter-final. The second time in this quarter as well that we've seen Deepek hunted down when he sat on those cams. It's unfortunate, because otherwise that could have been it for Rogue, but G2 just refused to let go.
Well, we asked for it, Des, and these two teams continue to deliver. We asked for 45 rounds. We're currently on our way to 30 potentially inside the first 2 maps, and I'm struggling to remember a quarter-final that has been quite so hardly fought and hotly contested between 2 teams as this one. But G2 and Rogue are certainly delivering in both entertainment and ability here on Clubhouse. It is going to be G2 on the defence, and they're going to start things off down in Church and Arsenal. Now, G2 went 4-2 on their defensive half, so you would have to say there is a potential advantage for them here.
I think back to the last time we had a game like this, Tim, and it was probably the DAMWON Kia FaZe game.
Stop it.
The first 2 maps there were not overtime.
It is not coming down to a 1v1 in the last round of map 3.
Just picture this with me for a second. Leon versus Citizen to decide it all in round 15 of the 3rd map. I'd pay good money to watch that.
I would literally get my wallet
and
right
to
now.
also watch the banter that goes back and forth straight after as well.
Absolutely.
It'd be incredible.
Here we go then. We're into it with 30 seconds in. We've got Spoit inside the map already, likely to come head-to-head with Doki pretty soon. I'm not sure if he's going to drop away. He's going to drop nowhere. He's going to drop dead as Kanto manages to find the nade to open things up. Advantage Rogue.
It's a good start, and Doki has so often been the opening pick as well. I know he's at 7 and 10, but so many of those have been from spawn peaks or these early bits of aggression, the flashes of crying down main stairs, for example, or Spoit flicking onto him inside of Moto. Just all these little things that are built up in this game must be so frustrating for him to deal with. And equally for G2, it means that without one of their star players that early into the round, I say star players, all of them within their own rights are up there to be called stars. But they have to align, Tim, all 5 at once if they're going to be able to get anything out of this game. Now currently down the 1. Rogue getting themselves set up for sight nice and early here as well. We've still got 1 minute and 40 to play with, and that hammer's being swung away by Kanto.
Almost just watching underneath for that long angle up into kitchen, potentially even further above. But as you say, the site is being softened up by the sledge now. Spoit established at the bottom of main stairs, crying over on blue. Rogue are really starting to build one of those multifaceted pushes. Citizen, no! One tap Spoit down the length of the corridor onto main stairs, and that is the sort of kill G2 might just need to keep them in this.
It's not the end of the world for Rogue because they can send one of their players. In this case, it's going to be Deepek into the spot that he was just holding. They've got enough players to pull off this multi-sided 3-2-1 execute that we keep on speaking about. They may even look to try and go through dirt here, as that has been left soft as well, and they've now got a rotation opened up through it. Prano should hear them though if they go for that rotation. For now, everything seems to be focused though on trying to get the kitchen hatch opened up.
It's decision time, Des, because there's only 40 seconds left to go. Citizen able to burn the first attempt, may be able to do the second, but no, he knows that it's going to be watched this time, so he's going to keep that impact nade in pocket. 30 seconds left as Rogue continue to try and build themselves into a position to execute, currently using the 2 hatches and the bottom of main stairs, but that is allowing G2 to sit inside of blue reasonably safely. 20 seconds left to go, and that is where the pressure is moving to.
Oil!
Cryan manages to find Virtue from Oil Pit, and here comes the final push. 12 seconds left to go. Rogue need to find kills. Alamau gets one onto Kanto. 3 versus 3, time ticking down. Rogue might not have enough time. It's all up to Prano in a 1v3. Diffuser going down. He gets cut down by Deepek, and that's going to be Rogue taking the first round of overtime.
Just one more still to go. Doki has jumped into all chat and said, good game, well played. And Rogue are just like, are you okay? You're not done yet, mate. We got one more. We've got to punish you on the spawn peak one more time.
Oh, dear me.
Classic Doki, that is, isn't
Classic Doki, thinking that it's over. It's not. We've got at least one more round to go. It is 7-6. Best of 3 rounds in overtime, so Rogue still need one more. They're going to need to get themselves onto 8 if they want to progress into the semi-final. G2, last hope now comes on the attack, Des. They only won 2 attacking rounds previously. I can tell you where those were. One was CCTV and the other was Bar. I've got a feeling that we're going to see Church and Arsenal.
What makes me the most nervous of all those, Tim, is again just how Rogue have played on these defenses. They've been so happy getting up in G2's face and disrupting them in the early round. And G2 have kind of almost sleuthed back into their old playstyle where these players aren't playing off each other for trades. They're getting picked off one at a time with no real response on the other side. Whereas you look at Rogue, think about their double jump out, for example. Spoit and Cryan out the same window were ready to die for each other. G2, I don't get that same feeling from. They are once again giving that respect to Rogue by picking up the Decabi, for example, to try and shut these roamers down. But I'm just so nervous that they'll lose a couple in the early round and we'll just peter out from there without much of a fight.
Virtue straight away opening up that stock door, just very aware. There's been a couple of times where Rogue have played with somebody in there, particularly Kanto has been present twice, so just wanting to make sure that there's an opportunity to cut anybody off that is playing inside of that side of the map. Alamau going to be straight on the drones. Spoit moves his way back down to the bottom floor, and that's going to be Rogue being pushed back reasonably quickly here. There's still one up on the top floor for the time being. I'm going to see him just moving himself through from CCTV to Cash, but it looks like Doki's aware of his position. It's going to be Cryan on the Mozzie that's just trying to keep himself busy there, trying to make a problem, trying to make a nuisance, burn as much time as he can, but G2 are aware of his position.
They are. Again, we spoke about the Battle of West Window last time, Tim. I'm sure they don't want to start another war over there as well. I mean, Cryan and Doki would have been squaring down very quickly. But Doki's now moved himself away. I was going to say might run into Kanto first, but Virtue had the assist on the main stairs window. Kanto not even looking the right way. Crying gets one back, mind you. And again, Tim, this is up on the roam on the outsides of the map. There is still so much work for G2 to do to get control before they can even think about hitting the site.
Crying looks like he's heading his way back down there now, likely to drop down oil pit, I think, as the pressure continues to mount. The job is largely done. He does indeed get himself back down there, ready to push into blue corridor and back onto site, but he's, I'm going to say, not quite ready to give up just yet, but at half health, he doesn't fancy a challenge up onto the garage stairs, so he's going to just set himself back, and he's going to give that map control over to G2, because it doesn't really matter too much at this point. 1 minute 10 left to go. The Roamers have done their job. They've got a kill. They've burnt 2 minutes. This is pretty good from Rogue.
The 1-for-1 and 2 minutes burn, absolutely. I mean, again, think about last round when it was Rogue on the attack. With 2 minutes still remaining, Kanto was swinging that hammer away. Virtue has only just started opening up the verticals, so really, they've got half the time to pull off the same thing that Rogue did, and it came down to a pretty close scenario at the end. Sure, they were 3 versus 1, but that clock was looking low. G2 are going to have to force things here, and that, as I said earlier on, is when big mistakes start getting made.
Doki just bringing out the nanobot boost there to try and get some life back in him. Citizen is ready for the challenge. Absolutely beautiful teamwork between Citizen and Virtue there. That's going to take Deepek down, and Rogue, they now feel like they're holding on, Des. It's 3 versus 4, but there's only 20 seconds. The clock might just play into their favour right now. Virtue, he's trying to do everything he can to apply pressure to try and find anybody inside a site, but as you say, this is just going to have to come down to drop and plant and hope that the cover is there. Prano waits for the call, in he goes. He can start putting that diffuser down. Citizen's there, Doki's in blue, but he gets cut down by Leon. Spoit manages to get one as well. Prano, he's going to have to stick this. There's no choice. And that is the round and the match. Rogue are going through to the semi-finals of the Berlin Major.
And so well-deserved, battling their way through Bank when G2 fought their way back in, stepping into Clubhouse and working some magic. These boys have